Hey guys, today Jason is going to be answering your most asked questions about RV internet. This is a topic that he gets quite a lot of questions on, and so I will be playing interviewer because I know nothing about this topic, and you will be playing interviewee. So it's basically my show today, right?
All right.
All right, well, let's roll that intro then. And welcome back to my show. So again, my guest today is Jason. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So the point of today's video is to really simplify RV internet for people, right?
Yeah, definitely. RV internet was something that really concerned me before we hit the road because it's something new, and because we were working from the road, it was something we needed. But come to find out, it is actually extremely simple.
Yes. So with that said, what are the different ways you can get internet on the road?
So the main ways that people get internet on the road, I will say the first off is satellite internet. Satellite internet works similar to if you have it at your house in like a rural area. So I actually had it at my house growing up because we couldn't get any regular internet. But it does have a bunch of downsides. The number one being that it costs a lot to get started, and you don't get really enough data. So like it's a really great option if you want to be way out in the backwoods by yourself, but for 99% of people out there, it's too expensive for what you get, and you can actually have a better option for cheaper that you can get almost anywhere. So next up, we're going to go campground Wi-Fi. This is where if you go to a campground or even libraries or anything else, just kind of using free Wi-Fi that's around the US, that's a interesting option, but I wouldn't rely on it at all because it's really unknown. The majority of campgrounds have extremely slow, I would say almost unusable internet.
Mm-hmm.
And there are the occasional ones that have really fast internet, but you really just don't know what you're getting. Most, I would say 90% of the campgrounds out there have a slower, unusable for work internet.
Yeah. If you need internet,
yes,
don't rely on campground Wi-Fi.
It's definitely usable for those people who just want to like check an email or something, but I wouldn't bank on streaming anything, like no YouTube, so you wouldn't be able to watch this video, or Netflix or anything like that, the vast majority.
Right.
And the final thing, what almost everyone uses that's full-time on the road, is cellular internet. And it seems really confusing and kind of hard, but I guarantee you, if you have a cell phone right now, you're using cellular internet, and it's really no different. The only thing with cellular internet is that it is dependent on location. So rather than satellite, where you need to have like a clear view of the sky, cellular internet used land towers, and so the better line of sight you have to an antenna tower, the better, and it could be, miles and miles away. So when you get more like out west area with more mountains, the signal kind of bounces around more, so it's a little bit more difficult. But it's as easy to find signal for your RV as it is with your regular phone.
So then, which companies, in your opinion, are the best for providing this type of cellular internet?
Yeah, so we have 3 main nationwide cellular providers now, and in terms of coverage of like where the internet is available, Verizon is number 1 by like slim margin. AT&T is right on its heels. And for us, we've actually been using AT&T primarily, and we see kind of faster speeds for the most part with our AT&T plan. And then T-Mobile is bringing up the rear in third. They just purchased Sprint though, so they're expanding their footprint, but they still don't have quite as large of a footprint as AT&T or Verizon. But they're kind of weird. We actually get T-Mobile service in places that we don't get AT&T or Verizon. So it really depends on you and where you're going. Each of the carriers actually have coverage maps that you can log in and like kind of zoom in and see. There's also an app called Coverage, which is made by Technomadia, and they have all of the maps kind of overlaid onto one on your app, so you can like click the boxes of like the different providers to see where their coverages are, and you can really zoom in. And they have like an HD upgrade that you can buy where it's like really detailed coverage maps. There's another app that we use called Open Signal. And so Open Signal is an iPhone app that actually crowdsources the data. So anytime I open the Open Signal app, it reports what my signal is and where I am anonymously. So that way you can actually zoom in on the map and see where people have reported like good signal or bad signal. And so you actually get to see some of the campgrounds that are like off in the wilderness have like big green spots, and then there's like lots of no data. The last thing you can do if you're looking for specific coverage, because once again, cell coverage just depends on where you want to go. For us, we stay at a lot of Thousand Trails, so if we want to see if there's a Thousand Trails that has service or not, we'll actually go onto Facebook groups and search for that campground itself, and people will report if they have service or they don't. So that's another way to find if where you want to go has coverage, or just campground review websites like Campendium, when we're boondocking, has coverage reports. So just
yes,
really
a lot of
depends.
resources you just mentioned. So I'll make sure to put the links for all of that in the description of this video, and I'll put some of those Facebook groups that we're in for Thousand Trails if you're curious about those too.
So coverage, once again, because it's dependent on where you want to go, the easiest way is to get redundancies or backups. So we have an AT&T, a Verizon, and a T-Mobile plan, so that way anywhere that there's cell service,
we're gonna get
it. But at least going with one like AT&T plan and a backup, whether it's Verizon or T-Mobile, is good enough for most people who are working on the road.
Okay, so let's say you've gone to these coverage maps and these resources, and you've decided which provider you want to go with. What would be someone's next step in choosing a plan?
Your next step is actually determining how much data you use. And this is an extremely difficult thing to do unless you already use something where you can track how much data you're using on a given day. For us, it was incredibly difficult. So we were always leaning towards unlimited. And I feel like most people lean that direction. But if you want to just kind of come up with a good estimate, I have a couple of numbers here which I looked up to help you out, kind of gauge how much data you think you're going to use. So I have my notes over here. You can stream 7 hours of music for 1 gigabit of data. And these are all estimates. So just like 7 hours of Spotify or Apple Music will use one gig of data. So if you listen to music every day, just imagine, say a gig a day. Streaming YouTube, like a video like this, at 1080p, you can watch 1 hour and 20 minutes for 1 gig of data. Not bad. Netflix, you can watch 1 hour of Netflix for 1 gig of data. So it's a slightly higher.
Who just watches 1 hour?
I know. If you want to stop there, good luck. And if you work and you need to do video calls, you can actually be on 5.5 hours of video calls for 1 gig of data. So, that's like a typical work week, probably about 5.5 hours. So gig a week's not bad.
5.5 hours of
video
work?
calls.
Oh.
Of video calls.
We're working very different.
Of meetings these days, yeah. You could have a job where you're in meetings all day long. Maybe you're a manager or something. Now, if you have kids or you yourself game, you can actually play 100 games of Fortnite. So it's about 100 meg per hour. So let's say 100 hours. Sure, it's close enough. But 100 games of Fortnite for 1 gig. So you can use those to estimate how much data you use. For us, being on the road full-time, working full-time from the road, and binging a lot of Netflix and not paying attention to our data usage because of our plans, we use between 250 and 300 gigs a month on average. So,
and that's a lot.
That is a lot. But I would say for most other people, if you don't have a internet like limit at home, like we are definitely on the more higher end, but I would estimate most people, like, think about it, if you watch an hour of Netflix a night, that's 30 gigs of Netflix a month. So
true,
it adds up
does.
Quickly.
Yes. All right, so now you can use those numbers to kind of gauge where you're going to be at, and let's say now you have a rough estimate of how much data you're going to need per month. So now we're kind of getting into the nitty-gritty here. So what are the types of data plans then out there that people should start looking at?
So with cellular internet, it can be a little different than just usual, but you still start off with the first option is going directly with one of the nationwide carriers. So that's AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile. We have a couple issues though with being nomadic on the road is none of them currently offer unlimited hotspot data plans, and so that's something that's really difficult to get your hands on now. We have been collecting our data plans for 4 years, and we've only been on the road for 3. And so this was something that really worried me. And so they come and go, and they only really give you unlimited data when they're forced to, and they haven't been forced to give you actual unlimited data for a couple years now. What you need to do is, if you want like one of the nationwide plans, you can get a Verizon phone plan, which gives you unlimited data on your phone, and then you can tether or like, you know, share data with your computer or an Apple TV or anything you want, up to 30 gigs, and that's going to be $90 a month. So not for full-time workers. Definitely not.
You know, maybe someone who likes to watch a little bit of shows and check their email.
You'll watch 30 minutes of Netflix a night. You can go on your email and you can Facebook. You can also go with a AT&T plan for the same thing. You get 100 gigs before you're managed, which I'll talk about network managing in a minute. You get 30 gigs of data to share with all the rest of your devices, and that's $85. So, once again, all of those plans are the nationwide plans. I don't know how much T-Mobile is right now. I think it's probably a little bit cheaper, but you get roughly the same. So, at this time, for most people, I can't recommend one of those. Next, we have what are called MVNOs, and these are like the budget carriers. And so these are carriers that offer services on the main networks, because those main networks are the only ones that actually offer services in the U.S. So these ones buy the opportunity to use like the AT&T network. But what it is you're buying like a coach ticket, right? So when you go directly to AT&T, you get that first class. Now Cricket is like an AT&T coach ticket. Visible is a Verizon coach ticket. And Metro is a T-Mobile coach ticket. So these ones are cheaper, just like, you know, plain coach tickets are, but you're second class. So deprioritize. If someone else is asking for data or if it's busy, your request waits. And once again, we'll talk about that stuff later. For the most part, none of them have unlimited hotspot plans either. The only one that is of note is actually Visible. Currently has a thing where you can share your phone, like you have unlimited data, and you can share the hotspot on your phone with any devices. I think it's only like one device at a time, but that shared data is actually unlimited, but it's limited to the speeds of 5 megs per second, which is good enough to watch a Netflix video or, you know, like standard definition level, watch YouTube, whatever you want. So that's the only one of note right now, especially because they have this weird thing called like a party plan where you can get people to sign up on like this group, which you can just go to Reddit and just Google Reddit visible party plan, and you can get strangers to join up with you, and you get $5 off per stranger. So your plan goes from $40 down to $25. And then the last option, which is what's different for, I guess, nomads than anyone else, is these rental or leased plan companies. And so these are important because these companies have deals with the main carriers that allow them to sell unlimited data plans. So just like the ones that we have, like they signed up a plan a long time ago, they've created a partnership with, say, AT&T, and they're able to sell you an unlimited data plan that, or lease you an unlimited data plan that's theirs. So when you sign up with AT&T, usually you'll get an AT&T SIM card. When you sign up with an MVNO, say like Visible, they'll give you a SIM card that says Visible on it. When you go to this leased plan, what happens is AT&T sends that company an AT&T SIM card, and they pay AT&T, and then you pay them. So you're just renting the plan from them or leasing the plan from them. The ones of note that we've used is actually Nomad Internet, and it's one that we're currently testing out and using, and we really like it. It's definitely unlimited. We have put that to the test over the last couple of months. Mobile Must Have is another one, and then there's like OTR Mobile. There's just a couple of these leased plans, and so what happens is these guys have like business agreements with AT&T that allows them to get like 10,000 unlimited hotspot plans that they're able to resell or release to you. You don't have the agreement with AT&T, you have it with them. So those ones are the only plans right now if you're looking for unlimited data on the road. And we've been using Nomad Internet, and it works great. So we'll cover that in a little bit, and we're actually giving away 6 months of Nomad Internet service, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too.
Yes. And I did want to add really quickly, just because we have been asked about this before, is the slight risk that comes with using these third-party companies, and that is there's always the possibility that that company could shut down. So you're not always promised unlimited internet, and the plan that he was referencing that we have that he purchased before we even started RVing, there's still always the risk that that one could get shut down, and it's just more so who's on the plan, and if everyone is going nuts with data and using too much, the provider could come back to that third-party reseller and say, hey, you know what, we're cutting you off. So that reseller always has the risk of losing their plan, so then everyone on their plan would lose that as well.
Yes, and no matter what, even us having a direct contract with AT&T, we can still be cut off. If you even go through Visible, at any time your cell plan can get cut off. The risk is definitely higher with a leased plan than it is with your direct plan, just because you don't get to read the actual terms of service that AT&T is giving them, so you can't fall within those terms of service. But overall, the worst case scenario is the reseller gets closed down and you have to go get one of the plans directly from AT&T. So you can walk into an AT&T store tomorrow and get it, or maybe you have to go to the library of the city near you or the Starbucks near you for a day or two to use the internet until you get that SIM card shipped to you. But overall, the risk is inherently low, but it's definitely there and something to consider.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump back to some definitions here, just so everyone's on the same page again. You mentioned the term network managing, and people have heard of the word throttling, so why don't you define those for us?
So, every single plan out there will network manage you or throttle you after a certain limit. Network management is good, throttling bad. Let's start off with that. And throttling is bad because you need to think of it as you going into what happens is once you hit your threshold of data, they slow you way down until your month is up, down to dial-up speeds, right? So if you think of that, it's like going into a store, getting a drink with unlimited refills, and then you finish your first drink, and you go and get a new refill, and they go, yeah, you can have unlimited refills, but you have to drink out of this like coffee straw. So then they give you like one of those little coffee stir things, and then that's like you're slowed way down. Network management, on the other hand, is, let's say you're on a plane, right, and you're sitting here and like you get your first drink and you need more. Like you press the button for the stewardess and she's coming to fill it up for you. No one else requests anything, no problem. She'll fill up your cup. If you press the button and then say like someone in first class presses the button, someone who hasn't met their quota, she'll go to them first and then she'll come back down to you and serve you. So you still are given your unlimited data, you're given it at the fastest speeds they can provide, but you're just kind of bumped down to like coach. So your data isn't slowed down, it's just delayed when times are busy. And so that seems a little scary. It's kind of unknown, and we didn't really know what to expect of it. But our main AT&T plan is network managed probably the second or third day of every month as we go over the 30 gig limit that it has before it starts network managing us. I think we've only had network management about 10 or 15 times in the last 3 years. And that's always when we're somewhere where the cell provider doesn't expect a lot of cell phones to be. So it's only when you go over the limits.
So
Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta, rallies,
other music festivals.
Yeah, music festival and things like that. And so that's why having multiple plans is good, because if we're ever somewhere that we're being network managed on our AT&T plan, we'll switch over to a different one that we haven't gone over our level yet.
All right, so hopefully we're all on the same page here. You kind of understand the different ways you can get internet and different providers now, and now we have some definitions under our belts. So let's briefly break down what might be best for different types of RVers. Obviously, only you know your exact situation, but you know, we want to help guide you in what could be best for you.
Absolutely. So let's start off with someone who's retired and maybe, or just goes out on the weekends. You don't really need a full mobile internet setup. We recommend going with your phone and just tethering off of it. So in most plans, if you want to go directly to a carrier, that's a very simple upgrade of your plan. You have unlimited data on your phone, and then you can get up to 30 gigs hotspot use. So you can use that for a computer, you can use that for your Apple TV. You just click the share button, or it used to be called tethering, now it's called like hotspotting on your phone. And you can share it with any of your devices. If you are looking for more of a budget option or like a second plan to pick up, I recommend going with that visible one I talked about earlier, because you can get it down to $25 a month. Our plan is already full, so you'll just have to go look on Reddit, like I said earlier. And you can get unlimited hotspot data that you can share to watch Netflix and whatnot. And so for that...
Is that truly unlimited, or that is...
That it's truly unlimited with network management, and then of course network management is on every plan, and that's okay. Yeah. So you can't get away from it, unfortunately. Unlimited is not unlimited. So the only other thing that I would recommend for that type of setup is a way to increase your cell signal for your cell phone. And it could be multiple cell phones. That would just be a cell booster. So that's a simple thing. It has an outside antenna and an inside antenna, and you try to put them as far away as possible. And then you can put any cell phone next to it on the inside, and it rebroadcasts outside for you. So we used the WeBoost for 3 years, and it worked great when we needed to use it.
Okay, so now let's say you're working with someone who's ready to step it up a bit, or they are working from the road full time, or need more data.
All right, so for pretty much everyone else out there who are hitting the road and you're going to be full time, whether you're working or anything else, 30 gig is just not going to be enough. Like I said, I mean, unless you're not going to watch Netflix and you're barely going to work, it's going to be very hard to constrain yourself in that, or expensive. So for that, we recommend going with one of these leased programs, and we've been testing out Nomad Internet. They truly have unlimited internet with network management, like all plans do, but it's one of the only ones you can get out there. They currently, the only offering I would go with is their AT&T offering, not with this Netgear NetHawk. So they have a couple of other routers, but this is the same one that we used for multiple years on the road. It is a really small, small device, and it actually has some really good technology in here. So it has like newer modems, so it's actually able to pick up signal a lot more, and it's like 5G compatible. So yeah, Nomad Internet with the Netgear Nighthawk router.
And I do want to clarify that you actually only have to lease this through them. You don't even have to purchase one yourself. We owned ours, but
yes,
this one isn't ours. We asked them to test everything out before we recommended it. So this is exactly what you would get with the SIM card already in there.
Yeah,
And
so the great thing is they pre-configure it all. They set up the passwords, and then you can click through here, and it actually, just clicking the button on the top will show you the password to get onto the Wi-Fi here. And this is it. Like, literally, it comes with this and this little USB, so you can plug it in and charge it, and you're good to go. I would say 80% of the places in the US, you will have coverage just right out the bat. Nothing additional to this. These are the only options right now, the leased plan. I wouldn't recommend going directly with any of the other companies because it's really expensive, and then you're put with these limits.
this specific plan currently, I believe, is $129 a month, and then you would have a lease fee for the Nighthawk as well.
It's called like a membership fee is what they call it, and then it's essentially a lease fee that you're able to, if something happens to this, or something happens, they fix it. So make sure you keep your box.
Oh, before I forget, we do have a coupon code for $25 off.
$25 off.
Okay, I'll put that down here because I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Getaway 25.
Oh, look at you. All right.
So, in addition to this, though, so like I said, 80%. So how do you increase that? Because, you're RVers, so you want to get as close to 100 as you can. The things that we used was actually, there's a very small directional antenna that you can get by Netgear. It's a flat panel antenna about the size of my hand, and it actually has suction cups that you're able to put on the wall. And the things I really like about these Netgear Nighthawks is, well, their internal antenna is really good, but if you need to use the directional antenna and kind of like focus the signal, it has these little flaps, which is kind of like that you're able to, come on, there we go. So you get these little antennas, and you just plug the antenna right in, and then the Nighthawk automatically starts using that little directional antenna. So then you can take that around and kind of point it in a different direction and just spin in a circle until you see more bars and see if you get better signal. And it works extremely well, and it's cheap, which is something I really like. I think it's somewhere in the realm of $30 to $60, depending on the day, on Amazon. So that'll get you up from that 80% to, I would say, about 90%. And then the same thing with the cell phones is, if you want to get from 90 to 95%, you'll never get to 100. If you want to get from 90 to 95, you can also throw in the WeBoost, the same WeBoost that you would get for the cell phones. It'll still work for your cell phones, and then you just throw this thing on top of it, and that'll get you up to 95% those places.
So what you just covered will be what 99% of RVers will use.
That's what we used for the last 3 years even.
Exactly. So that leads into my next question for those of you who are curious and who understand this stuff, because if you don't understand this stuff like me, this will make no sense to you. But we at least wanted to have Jason cover what is our current setup.
So our current setup, we just upgraded. I'm super excited about it, and This is bringing us from that 95% to 98%. We have a Cradlepoint 1700, which is awesome. It has a brand new technology of Cat 18 modems, which just means fancy new modems that are just, X% better than the last modems. The thing that I really liked about this Cradlepoint, though, is that it had an additional slot for you to upgrade with, and so I put another Cat 18 modem in there. So now we have 2 modems, each with 2 SIM card slots, and so we have 4 cell planes in there that it will automatically switch between to find the best system. And then, so other than the fact that I'm able to upgrade all of that if, say, they come out with a Cat 20 modem or something like that, or whatever, I think it's 8, so maybe we'll do like Cat 28 will be the next one. We can upgrade that one slot. I don't have to buy a whole new system. I also put 2 new antennas up on the roof, and so that gives them a little bit better line of sight, and they don't have to talk through the walls of our RV or through some of these lower trees. It each gives me 4 LTE antennas in each of those, so I'm able to have 4x4 MIMO for each of my modems, which means they have 4 mouths and 4 ears, and they're able to do this cool new technology. And then I also got 2 pointing directional antennas. So if we're somewhere like this campsite where we're at right now, where there was like 1 meg of T-Mobile service and that was it, I'm able to actually go up there and put these big directional paddle antennas up on the roof and point them in the right direction. Here it's north to the next cell tower along the coast. And I can actually either run all 4 of the wires from those antennas into one of my modems, or I can run 2 and 2. So like for here, I don't really get any Verizon service. And T-Mobile was working just slow and fine with the regular antenna, so I put all 4 of the wires into AT&T, so it's able to get 4x4 MIMO directional technology with one of the modems. Anyways, really cool stuff, and but it's kind of like, for 99.9% of people out there. But yeah, comment down below if you want to hear more. Maybe I'll write a blog post about it, because it is really cool.
So, last things last.
Last things last.
Last things last. The giveaway. So, we are giving away, it's a lease, okay? You're not getting to keep this, but they have waived the, I believe it's $350 fee.
Yep, membership fee.
For the Nighthawk. So that is waived, so you will be getting this, and then also 6 months of internet service, which $129 a month. All of this adds up to over $1,000. This is very exciting because, internet's just so important, And then you can really...
It's the great equalizer.
Yes, and then after your 6 months is up, if you don't want to use Nomad Internet, that's totally fine. Send your leased Nighthawk back, and then if you want to just continue your internet plan, then you will just start paying the $129 a month to continue. So, getawaycouple.com/giveaways is where you will enter this. We have made it so you will sign up to our newsletter.
That's all you have to do to enter?
All you have to do to enter. And then there are a bunch of freebie additional entries for visiting our Instagram account, our Facebook account, and following us there, liking us there. Same thing for Nomad Internet. You can follow their accounts and get extra entries. And yeah, pretty simple. It closes. This video will come out on Sunday. It closes on Wednesday. So you got, 3 nights to get this done. So don't delay, okay?
Yeah, and you would have known about it sooner if you were on our newsletter. So that's what's super exciting about this is this is actually our 3rd giveaway, and we always let our newsletter peeps know first what we're doing, where we are. what we're giving away. So
our favorite products.
yeah, so don't
Lots of tips and tricks.
don't be shy to sign up and get yourself $1,000 worth of internet.
Yes, exactly. So, and also we do want to thank Nomad Internet for giving this to us to give away. Well, this one's ours. You're not going to get this one. You're going to get a new one from Nomad Internet. So we thank them for participating in this giveaway. This is probably the highest dollar giveaway we've done to date.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. So I think that's it. Is that it?
That's it.
Hopefully Jason was able to clear up some of your internet questions, get you thinking about the right things, and get you started down the right path for getting your own RV internet. I will link all of the stuff that we talked about in the description of this video. Lots of resources on this one, so don't forget to go to the description and check those out. Otherwise, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to join our getaway gang. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so, okay? We'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Hey guys, today we're going to be answering... Welcome back to my show. I don't know why I find that so funny. Okay,